If you're training your fucking ass off and going to failure on all of your working sets, like true failure, by the way, a lot of the studies on this, like reps in reserve and training to failure and all that kind of stuff, a lot of those studies are slightly skewed because what they've found is that a vast majority of people that are being used as, contributors to the data or whatever, the actual people who are participating in the studies, they don't know what failure actually is. That's the problem. Like a lot of them think they're going to failure and they're still like 5 reps in reserve. They just thought it was failure because they think that like when it gets really difficult, that's failure. So yeah, that's the big thing. You should be training to failure, especially earlier in your career when you're younger, because you can recover from that a lot better when you're younger. And training to failure ensures that you're getting enough of the stimulus to actually make the muscle grow. The biggest thing, though, is also psychological. If you're able to train to true failure, then you know what 1 rep in reserve is or 2 reps in reserve is. If you don't, if you've never trained to failure before, then you don't know what the hell 1 RIR or 2 RIR is because you've never experienced what 0 RIR is. You have to know what 0 reps in reserve is in order to know what 1 or 2 or 3 reps in reserve is. So if you ever hear any of these science-based guys saying you shouldn't go to failure, you need to keep like 1 or 2 RIR, okay, cool. That makes sense. I understand that there's research that shows like 1 to 2 reps in reserve is just as effective as going to failure. But how do you know if you're 1 to 2 reps in reserve if you've never gone to failure before? If you don't know what failure actually means, you don't. You just don't. And again, the studies more or less show that 1 to 2 reps in reserve is as good as training to failure. So like maybe let's just train to failure. If you're using PEDs, by the way, and I'll get into this more, but like if you want to turn pro, if you want to become an IFBB pro and you're going to try to do it naturally, good luck. Ain't going to happen. It's just not in almost any category, maybe fit model. Bikini is possible. Highly unlikely, but possible. Not encouraging anybody. I'm not giving anybody any advice on it. To be honest with you, I think minimum effective dose, definitely. I'm very big at adhering to minimum effective dose. That's another thing. I may have been able to turn pro had I not adhered to that myself. Neither here nor there, but that's a big factor too. But to go back to the training component, if you're using PEDs and you're leaving reps in reserve, why? They're not doing studies on a bunch of enhanced people. They're not doing studies on elite bodybuilders. They're doing studies on mostly just pretty normal average people. And so again, like the normal average person who doesn't have those androgens in their system that are pushing muscle protein synthesis and recovery to a much higher degree, those studies don't necessarily apply exactly to you. So if you are using PEDs, you should be training to failure. I don't care what any of the research says. And I'm very big at actually adhering to research. People are too afraid of feeling pain to go actually to failure. It's totally true. It's again, guys, listen, your brain is wired to prevent you from doing things that cause extreme discomfort. So if you're training as hard as you possibly can, your brain is telling you, stop. This hurts, this is hard, this hurts, this is going to hurt us, we're going to get injured, stop. And you have to say, no, I got to keep going until the muscle is no longer capable of moving that weight in the way that you're attempting to move it.